When it comes to the competitive pool of exercise bikes, few bikes out there are as closely matched as the NordicTrack S22i and the Proform Studio Bike Pro 22. NordicTrack and Proform are sister companies, both owned by Icon Health and Fitness, so not only is the overall build quality of these two bikes quite similar, but they are also both fitted with 22-inch touchscreen displays and provide video-based workouts through their proprietary iFit app. That said, these two bikes are priced over $500 apart, with the Proform priced around $1,500 and NordicTrack closer to $2,000 depending on available discounts. Is the added cost worth it? That's what we're here to find out. Looking at these two bikes side by side, you can tell that there are a handful of minor details that separate one from the other. The Proform bike has a nominally smaller footprint by a few inches. It lacks the incline and decline capability offered by the S22i, and it also has a lower weight rating, being capable of holding riders of up to 250 pounds instead of 350. While it's not flimsy or poorly constructed, its generally lighter frame could lead to a bit more movement of the bike when being used at pace by a heavier rider. Part of this difference in weight rating, we presume, comes from the design of the seat post and the adjustment setup. The seat on the Studio Bike Pro 22 is mounted on a smaller steel bar that comes forward and up off of the main seat post, whereas the seat of the S22i rests on the post itself. This doesn't seem like a big deal, but it would make sense that this design would impact the bike's weight capacity. The S22i is a long-standing staple in the category compared to the Proform, which just hit the market recently. This is really the bike with all of the bells and whistles, including its powered incline and decline function that adjusts between a 10% decline and 20% incline. This helps simulate the hills found in its iFit training classes. The S22i is the only bike of the pair that has an onboard fan to keep you cool while riding. Looking at the handlebars, you'll notice both a thicker bar profile as well as additional storage at the bars that isn't found on the Proform. It's also fitted with dual water bottle holders rather than a single holder. From an adjustment and ergonomic standpoint, both bikes are equal. However, when we compared the seats, we found the NordicTrack seat to be a touch softer and more comfortable when working out over longer periods. While there are a few glaring differences between these two exercise bikes, there's also a lot of similarity. First and foremost, both bikes are fitted with high-definition 22-inch touchscreen displays to run the iFit app. Both screens are locked, meaning you aren't able to download any third-party apps like Netflix, nor can you browse the web, check emails, or watch videos on YouTube. While NordicTrack states that they improved the graphics processing on their screen for 2021, we didn't notice any tangible difference between the two bikes during our review. Both screens have 2-inch speakers fitted to them, and both have reasonably loud and clear sound output. When it comes to the iFit workouts themselves, the content between the two bikes is also identical, so there isn't a better or worse experience on one versus the other. In addition, both of the screens are able to swivel, which makes it easy to follow along with the variety of off-bike workouts offered in iFit. After some recent changes, Icon Health and Fitness has decided to stop offering a free 1-year iFit subscription with the purchase of its equipment from all brands. So both the NordicTrack and Proform bikes will come to your door with a 30-day trial of iFit included. After the first month, the subscription will cost you $39 per month. With all of the iFit testing we've done over the years, we can safely say that it's worth the fee to be able to access this comprehensive library of classes, but if you're not interested in this added expense, you're going to want to look at other options. Neither of these bikes have any sort of built-in workout program, so without the subscription, you're basically living in manual mode. Both the Proform and the NordicTrack use magnetic resistance systems, which is pretty much expected on any exercise bike that costs over $1,000. When putting the power down, unfortunately, neither bike has a clip-in option for its pedals. That said, the pedal design here is the same as what's found on any old bicycle, so swapping on a set of clip pedals wouldn't be a big deal. Lastly, the warranties on these bikes are also identical, coming in at 10 years for the frame, 2 years on parts, and 1 year on labor. Having covered the basics of these two bikes, we really need to look at the key differences and what they all mean. First and foremost, the weight capacity gap is the consideration we'd start with. The Proform is rated to a maximum of 250 pounds, whereas the NordicTrack is good for 350, which will be more stable for heavier riders. This is equally true when it comes to the comfort level of the seat itself, as the NordicTrack seat has better padding. That said, much like the pedals we mentioned earlier, the seats on both bikes can be swapped out fairly easily for something with more padding, or you could easily buy a gel pad online to place over the existing seat. The second major set of differences comes in the form of all of the bonus creature comforts that the NordicTrack S22i has and that the Proform lacks. Starting with the most superfluous of options, the Auto Breeze fan is one of those features that we wouldn't specifically shop for, but that we thoroughly enjoy having. It definitely kept us cooler on longer workouts, but you could just as easily set up an inexpensive standing fan beside your bike and solve this problem on the cheap. Meanwhile, if noise is a point of concern in the household, the added Bluetooth audio capability of the NordicTrack is a crucial upgrade worth paying for. It's a bit of a surprise that the Proform doesn't even have a headphone jack of any sort, meaning that your only way to follow along with its programming is via its built-in speakers. Lastly, and most notably, comes the debate over the incline and decline function of the NordicTrack. There was a lot of back and forth on this, but here's where we landed. For seasoned cyclists especially, this feature is a fantastic one that's worth every penny. The ability to simulate a proper hill climb isn't something that many expect from an exercise bike, and it's almost shocking to see and feel how well this incline and decline setup works. Even with the resistance set to its lowest level, if you crank up the incline on the S22i, you'll notice a dramatic difference in the amount of force required to keep your pace up. On the flip side, even though a novice rider will appreciate the novelty of the incline and decline function, it's not necessarily something that a novice really needs to be spending money on. These two exercise bikes are at the top of their class for good reason, but when thrown up against one another in a head-to-head competition, they're really two different options for two different shoppers. If you're just getting started, need to stick to a budget, but are loving the idea of video-based training sessions, the Proform ticks all of the right boxes. While it's a cheaper bike of the two, its specs and overall quality are properly aligned to its price point. Meanwhile, if you're the type that loves a feature-rich experience, or you're a seasoned road cyclist looking for something to help you train during the off-season, the NordicTrack delivers in every respect. It's more expensive, but each of the little niceties adds to its overall value and delivers a fantastic riding experience. Long story short, there isn't really a wrong answer when choosing either of these two bikes, but rather a decision to be made about what your personal priorities are. That said, if we're talking about my own personal choices, I am all over NordicTrack's hill climbing capability.